Mike, turn your games down.
Popular spooky movie episode of Games My Mom Found. I am Mike Albertin, and who's a sinner with me tonight?
Hey everybody, it's Kenneth Sanity, and I am living deliciously.
And I'm Bill Tucker from The Gamer Looks at 40, and clickety-clackety, clickety-clackety.
We are here to talk about a movie that only happened because you guys have mentioned it, and a podcast I listened to mentioned it over and over again. So I finally were talking about, and it's been on like multiple Patreon polls, but never won, but we were talking about The Witch, the 2015 film.
Hooray!
Yay!
Or the Veitch, how they make it with two V's.
The Vavitch. So Mike, who's this directed by?
Robert Eggers, which I don't know who that is.
Oh, yeah. Robert Eggers is a hell of a director. Boy, howdy. And this is his first movie.
I've never seen any of his movies.
Oh, the beginning.
Lighthouse, The Northman, and Nosferatu.
Coming up, Nosferatu.
Yeah.
I'm really looking forward to Nosferatu. I am looking forward to that. I like all of his movies.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really, really love The Lighthouse. I think The Northman is very good. Not his best work, in my opinion.
Still haven't seen The Northman. I own it. I just haven't watched it yet. I gotta be in the mood to watch that, you know?
It's
A historical action film.
Yeah. I gotta be in the mood to watch all of his movies, honestly.
Yeah.
That sounds kind of good. Oh, over 2 hours. Okay, that's fair.
Yeah, he is one of the new auteur directors in Hollywood/film world. So yeah, he's great. And this was his first movie. You know, boy howdy, did he really knock it out of the park with this one.
Oh, this is also Anna Taylor-Joy's first movie too.
Yeah.
Yep.
I like her. That's one reason why this ended up on the show too. Finally, I'm like, fuck it, it's time. Like, because
we've seen a lot of Anna Taylor-Joy movies, I think, on this podcast, haven't we?
We did Last Night at Soho,
right?
And
at least one other. Maybe not.
No, we didn't. I mean, there's another one that I'm eyeing, which is The Menu. I've heard good things about.
Menu's good.
No Man's a Fantasy podcast, and I really want to see Split someday because I'm a big fan of Unbreakable, and I've always wanted to see Split.
Split is good, very good.
But
we should also do The New Mutants.
Yeah, I have seen that. I saw that in theaters.
I like that movie.
I did too. Yeah, that movie that was that was just in development hell forever. But yes,
it was better than it needed, or better than it
anticipated.
Was thought to be.
Yeah, it wasn't a bad movie. It just came out in 2020. I mean, it was just like, we just gonna get this out there just to get it out there. But no, I like this actress. And more. But because of Last Night in Soho, I really wanted to see more by her. And since you guys have talked about this movie so many times, a show that I really like, The Geek Box, he mentions this movie constantly. It comes up he brings it up one way or the other. So I've always been curious to watch The Witch. And Max had it, so made it nice and simple.
Yep.
Which I can't always say Max is good at doing, having movies on there that fucking Max. They like to take stuff off that they own. They're like, oh, we can't pay royalties, so you don't get this.
Wah, wah, wah.
Yes.
I had to watch this on Google Play again. I can't.
Was it on your phone?
No, I watched it on my computer. It was fine actually. I'm just frustrated with it because I've recently, for some reason for this show, they've not been available on like normal streaming services that I have. They've always been on Max or something else, and I've had to like go to the depths of YouTube or and it's fine, but the quality's not great. The sound isn't great. It's not an ideal viewing experience. So I was like, but luckily I've seen this before, so it wasn't. I'm surprised they don't own it either. Actually, I really, really am.
I think this is a movie that doesn't need 4K.
No, probably not.
No, but I think just a big screen and in the dark is a good setting. I watched this movie all in one sitting. All I did was watch the movie. I just took notes. I didn't do other stuff too much.
Wow.
There was a little bit of snapping going on, but I tried to behave and just kind of pay attention to the movie. I also like the setting of the 1600s. I like that. I like the stuff when it comes to the Salem witch trials. I mean, this isn't Salem witch trials, but it's set in that same time of when that's happening.
I think like 60 some odd years before the Salem witch trials is something I read.
Okay. I mean, but to be fair, I forget when in England they were doing all the witch hunting and burning people for no reason because they were all crazy. Yep, 1692 is the witch trials to 1693, and this movie takes place in just 1630.
Right.
So, yeah.
Yep.
So 60 years.
Yeah.
I was right.
But it had that feel still.
Yeah. Oh, big time.
And I've been to Boston once. I've been to Salem actually once, and which you need to go someday, Ken. You will like that town. It's a really cool little town.
Someday.
But like, I went to they have a witch museum or witch trial museum in Salem, and like they have it's a really good exhibit that they kind of just put on. Like they explain to you a lot of why that happened, and they have names of all the people that were killed, and it's really interesting. But just like, and you have little stores in that town that sell a lot of like different stuff with like the goat devil on it and stuff like that. It's just such a neat little town. They embrace this very much.
I feel like there's probably some people there that are just like, yeah, no, we're tired of this.
Oh, I'm sure, but I mean, one of the reasons why we flew across the country was to go to Salem. So I'm sure they make a lot of, like, hey, they gotta keep the town open. Even if they have a killer witch, they have to keep the town open during the summer, So make the joke. But I should say history. I have no history of this movie other than hearing people talk about it. Never seen it before until this past week, but I've always been curious. Bill, what is your history with the film?
I've seen this a couple of times. I know I didn't see it in theaters. I've seen it a couple of times. I haven't seen it probably in a good 3 years, probably, maybe less. I was going to bring it up later, but one of the screenings of this was this requires a bit of setup. When my daughter was born, we stayed at my in-laws' house for 2 weeks, so my in-laws could look after my son and we could take care of the baby. And we were kind of just at the in-laws' house for a couple of weeks with the newborn. And I was on the 12:30, 1 a.m. feeding shift because I can easily stay up till 12:30, 1 a.m. It's very hard for me to wake up at 3/4. So anyways, I'm sitting there just hanging out, and my wife's dad comes downstairs and he's like, let's watch something. He's not a movie person per se. We put on and we see The Witch, and he turns on The Witch, and it's like 2/3 of the way through already. And I'm like, oh, you sure you want to watch this? Because this is kind of like a very creepy movie. He's like, I like a good creepy movie sometimes. I'm like, okay. And it was about 2/3 of the way through. And I'm like, but you really should see it from the beginning. And I got this very awkward moment where I got to watch the ending of The Witch with my father-in-law, who was not prepared for a Roger Eggers movie. And it was a very awkward screening. And I will tell you the point where he looked at me and said, what is this? As we go through this conversation. So look forward to that moment.
I'm excited.
I mean, yeah, I can get it.
Everyone should be. But yeah, it was a very awkward kind of like, I think he had us thought like, so my daughter's married to this guy, huh? Oh, I thought he was like a stand-up dude. And all I said was I think I actually said I warned you. I didn't. I gave you a warning.
I mean, this isn't that bad.
No.
I mean, compared to like the shit that I've watched on this podcast last year.
It's funny. I was thinking about that. I'm like, this is actually rather quaint compared to like some of the stuff we've seen.
Hereditary. Yeah. 100%. Midsummer. 100%. I would have been like, whoa, but this is like, I mean, there's one part which we'll get to, but there's not much in this that made me go, like it wasn't a whole lot.
There's so much tension though. And this movie is just edge of your seat. It still gets me at certain points.
And Ken.
Oh, I saw this in the theaters.
Lucky you.
No, I was really happy to be able to have seen this in the theater. This is a movie I go back and watch probably every few years, every couple years. Just looking now that it came out in 2015, so happy almost 10th anniversary.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know, I was lucky. I don't really get a lot of good movies playing by me when I was living up in Kenosha, but this was one of them. So, of course, I had to check it out, and the screening that I saw was even darker than the movie actually is, because it didn't have the lighting set right.
Oh, really? Oh, my gosh.
Yeah, so it was hard to see what was going on, but even still, I dug it. And it was enough to make me want to watch it at home, which I did a few times.
One thing about this movie that I picked up like right in the beginning that like because the first scene of this takes place, they're at a court hearing, they're in a small town. But like once you see them, I do want to talk more about that. But once you see them leave the town, I was like, this movie is just this family, and that's it. I called it right away to myself. because I'm like, he's gonna die, he's gonna die, he's gonna die, she's gonna die. Because and I knew nothing about the movie. I went in completely blind. But that's what as soon as I saw them leaving when they leave the town, I'm like, yeah, they're all fucked. Just knowing horror movies, and that's what I was expecting. Well, that was my assumption when I first started watching this.
You assumed well.
Well, I've seen enough horror movies, thanks to you.
Yeah,
guys.
I was saying you've seen enough of these to kind of get the gist of what's going on here.
I mean, it just seemed accurate. I'm like, especially when you see the farm, I'm like, yeah, they're never coming back. And also when they leave the plantation, the way that the doors are, like, the gate is closed on them, little things like that just kind of told me, like, yeah, this is foreshadowing of what's coming in a very good way. And I do got to say, this movie reminded me how much I hated the idea of the Puritans when I was in history class and most of my life. I just thought they were just the dumbest fucking people in the world. So I don't like organized religion a lot when it comes to like controlling people like this, essentially what it was doing. And this movie just reminded me, oh yeah, this is why you don't do this. So that's what I thought. Why were they banished from the town? That I didn't understand.
Okay, so if you listen closely to the beginning, it's really clear that during that little trial thing, Papa William has a big problem with the church not being churchy enough. And they start accusing him of being prideful, thinking he knows better. So they're cast out. And he's like, fuck you, I'll make my own church with blackjack and hookers. And he doesn't.
He does not. No, he just goes off to the woods to find to live on his own. It's a very interesting. It's the obviously you can't even say religious subtext because it's really it's all over this movie.
Yes, I mean, but that
in this movie
fits the 1600s. That fits the time. That fits New England area. I mean, it fits perfectly with what's happening and what the story they're trying to tell is.
Now, remind me, Ken, because you did just say this, and I might have fell asleep a second while you were talking, so I apologize. I'll just ask you again. So, was the family too extreme for the Puritans, which is why they weren't allowed?
I don't know if they were too extreme, but it seemed like they were taking the Bible more literally.
Yeah, I think
as an interpretation.
Right.
Okay.
I think the community they were in was a scooch more progressive than they were, and I think they were probably just causing lots of problems. Like you're not doing X, Y, Z, as per Leviticus, right? Like we're that's a very interesting thing because to be too hardcore for the Puritans in the 1600s.
Yeah,
boy, like that's letter of the law stuff. I mean, wow.
I mean, I got a couple comments in here that I'm going to say when we get there. But Ken, did you have a plot rundown for this movie?
No.
Okay.
Oh,
that hasn't stopped me before.
No.
Because you don't want to hear mine, so you don't. I don't have one, but I'll come up one out of my ass, and it won't be as good as yours.
All right, here we go. Let's try it. Religion is good, and witches are bad. Or is it the opposite? A family in 1630s New England is going to find out as one by one they are all tested by the wilderness, by their faith, and by themselves.
Ooh, you have to put the by themselves at the end. That's just what a clincher. Very nice. Nicely done.
Thank you.
Nicely done.
One thing I do want to say, like when they're being banished, one thing I thought was also interesting is that you see the three Native Americans kind of looking at like, where the hell are you guys going as they're leaving? I thought that
was kind of cool. I liked it.
I like that too. Like they looked at him like, you're really going to give this a shot, huh? Oh, okay. Well,
so I assume this farm had already existed that they go to. It wasn't something brand new, right?
No, I think it was just a field that because I believe by the time we show up, they've already have a harvest. They already have some crops. I think once they leave the town, it's now like 6 months later.
Okay, because I was thinking that like
passed.
They had a farm and they just went to the farm versus living in a town. But that makes more sense.
No, because if you remember, they're on that ramshackle cart, and then the next scene is them arriving at an empty field and then kneeling down to pray.
Oh yes,
bless it. And then the next thing is they've built it, and it's still being built. Like you can tell, there's a house that's half built that they kind of stopped because probably ran out of wood or whatever. And yeah, they're in a situation of privation. They've only been out there for I think 6 months.
Do they have? They don't have the baby when they're in town, do they?
No, I don't think so. I think they had the baby there.
Okay, that's a nice way to kind of tell you how much time has passed. See, I didn't really think about that because I was just like, the movie just starts and then they're being banished, and I didn't even think about the fact of what was coming. Of like the fact that the baby is assigned to tell you so much time has passed. So I was thinking, they couldn't have built a farm that fast. Like, it's not that quick to put up a house and harvest and everything. But
see, here's the thing, though. They've already grown corn.
Yeah.
Like, we don't know exactly how long they're out there.
I know nothing about agriculture, so for me, I couldn't tell you how long corn takes to grow. Yeah, I honestly don't know. It could be years. I don't know. I believe, because if I remember correctly, though, in some of the conversations they have as a family, the mother is talking about how much she wants to go back. Like, she's missing what they had. She's kind of like pining to go back. So I feel like it's not so long where they're settled, but not right away either. So I don't know. That's a good question. I really don't know.
I have the first part playing to see if you can tell if she's pregnant or not in the opening. So, because that will be a good sign. If they're not showing her.
Yeah, you're not going to see her till the cart, and she's got kids on her.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. And you don't even see the twins, where you can't really tell either. I don't think, because you can't tell with Caleb or Thomason if they look any different or not. Okay, I didn't think about that, but yeah, that makes sense that they've been there at least for 6 months to a year, camped out here. They definitely don't have the baby when they're leaving the town.
Okay.
So you can't tell she's pregnant, but there's no baby being held. There is that, and that baby's at least a couple months old by the time we see it. So
probably like 3 months old. I would guess is my guess. Yeah.
So it gives you a little. I mean, it gives you it's one way of a movie trying to tell you how some time has passed.
And they're not really. Well, as we've been talking about, they're not really clear about it.
Yeah.
And that's just like the first of many things that they're not clear about.
Man, life must have sucked in the 1600s. My God.
Oh, my God. Fucking toilets, man.
Oh.
Oh, God.
Yeah, because there's no saying 6 months later, nothing. But the way it cuts it, I didn't even catch it that they came to an empty field, and then now it shows. You're right, it does show a little bit of construction still happening, things. Like you guys, like Ken was saying to me before in the green room, like this is very much a artsy movie.
Oh yeah. It's definitely more artsy, not as much fartsy. But there's a lot going on. Like you see when they're out, like in that beginning part, you see that there's a place where they're sitting by a campfire and they're just out. Later in the movie, it says that the town is a day out.
Right. Yes.
So I'm taking that campfire to say that they did not have a setup right away.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
That's true. I think that's right. I think
that would make sense, because if you're a day out, you would just unless they're going slower because they're not on horse, but they did have a cart and horse. Okay, that makes sense. I mean, they're not terribly far, but like a day out with horse would, compared to walking, I'm assuming is still like a 2-3 day walk.
Yeah, I mean,
So when I first saw the baby, because early you see Thomason playing with the baby, I thought it was her baby at first. Like I was thinking that she was older than what she is, and that's why they were leaving, is because she got pregnant. I didn't put two and two together right away until a little bit later that it was the mother's baby.
Man, that would have made this movie a lot more messed up.
Yes.
I mean, it's just kind of what I thought. Because, I mean, she looks like she's 16 in this. She's supposed to be younger, but she looks like she's 16. So I'm like, okay, that would make sense. I mean, the 1600s, they did have kids young, but that's... So the part when, you see her playing with a baby, and then all of a sudden the baby's just gone.
Yeah, that's messed up, man.
It's such a terrifying moment, and it's one of those moments where I think like a lesser director would have probably thrown a little jump scare stinger in there, but you don't need to. It's just the look on her face as she realized, what just happened? Like 1 minute you're there, the next minute you're gone, and there's no one around. Like nobody's around. Them witches are pretty agile. They're pretty swift, because she was playing peekaboo. It's very unnerving, and it's the scariest possible thing you can imagine if you have kids. I mean, it's literally the scariest thing imaginable. Where is my kid is a very scary idea and thoughts. Even if you're in a grocery store and you're like, there's no way to my. I almost said this dummy. He's probably by the Pokemon cards, I'm sure. But even then, if you don't know, there's this weird innate it's not cool, and it's a real thing. So
Happened
It
to me
is very scary.
once at a Sam's Club when my son was like 5 or 4, and he just disappeared and freaked the fuck out. Like, it's not fun.
No.
Oh yeah,
No,
that's happened. Where you just turn around like, wait, where?
Yeah, and I'm like, he's not with you. And she's like, he's not with you. I'm like, no. And
Nope.
yeah, he was outside apparently. He went outside.
Oh wow. Yeah, it's even it's one of those things where it's just very creepy. I apologize in advance for calling my son dumb. He's actually extremely smart and too smart for his own good sometimes. So I'm gonna.
I was just gonna edit it out for you, but now I can't.
All right,
Look,
fine.
All right, I'm gonna. Everybody out there who doesn't have kids, I'm gonna explain something to you. When you have children, there will be a time when you think your child is the dumbest person on legs. I promise you will feel like this.
Yes.
And you will never say it. You will never, ever say it. But there will be a time when you're just like, dear God, what have I loosed on the earth?
Yeah, this is a very accurate feeling. The feeling of why what have I loosed upon this earth? That's exactly it. Yeah. So anyway, I just want to back up from that a little bit. That was a little harsh. But yeah, no, it is a very scary idea. So when you see her look down, and all I can think of when I remember first seeing this, like, oh my God, what horror am I going to see? Like, what am I going to see? And when it's nothing, that's just as bad as I think as anything else.
I think it's a little worse.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Well, it would have been if it wasn't in the trailer.
I don't think I saw I think I saw this pretty much blind the first time I saw it. So I don't think I wasn't spoiled by the trailer.
I didn't watch the trailer.
Lucky so-and-so.
Because any movie that we put on the show now that you guys suggest or anything, I don't watch a single trailer. I try not to. I don't read anything. I just put it on the show.
Yeah.
And just watch it blind.
That's good.
Good.
Way to do it.
So that would have bothered. I mean, that part, I think a little bit later when you find out what happened to the baby. But like you do see a cloaked figure running through the woods, and at first I thought it was Thomason, but then I realized later, I'm like, oh, that's not Thomason running through the woods. That's the witch that we see later.
The titular witch of the movie.
Yes.
I like how there's like, well, yeah. I mean, she has a red cloak, which I did catch and liked. Well, it made me think of Red Riding Hood for some reason. I'm assuming that's what they were going for.
Oh yeah.
That makes perfect sense. Plus, there's the fact that everybody else is in drab grays and earth tone and somehow fucking khaki. And you have a witch running around in a red cloak. Well, that is clearly some sort of harlot.
Indeed. Yeah. Dye does not come cheap in the 1600s. That's what we call a grige good in the fashion world, where it's just the color of the fabric. There's no pigmentation whatsoever to that.
Which is
That
why
would
you
have been
get bread clothing, essentially.
Bread? Did you say bread clothing?
Yes, I did.
That is bread clothing. It is clothing the hue of unleavened bread. Yes.
But it's very fitting to have her have that red cloak to also kind of let you know, like, because you kind of see it in the woods, but it's very hard to tell that it's a red cloak. But when you watch this movie and you're rewatching it, you put it together immediately. That is a red cloak that you're seeing.
Yeah, but of course, nobody thinks it's a witch. It's a wolf.
Of course, it's a wolf. Had to have been.
Yeah,
sneakiest wolf there could be.
I mean, wolves. I feel like wolves not that sneaky, but can be sneaky.
Not like peekaboo quick.
No.
But then again, witches shouldn't be peekaboo quick either.
No.
I mean, and this is where kind of you have to suspend your disbelief a bit. You can maybe say there was a spell. Maybe she was peekabooing a lot longer than she thought she was due to some sort of hocus pocus. I don't know. But it's still incredibly unnerving. With
the idea, just by knowing the name of the movie and nothing else at this point, I was like, my brain went to spell. Like the movie's called The Witch. So I know there's going to be a witch somewhere in this movie. Like that's where my brain went to. I'm like, okay, that's enough. I can put two and two. I can. It didn't bother me. I mean, you are right. You have to disdain some disbelief, but it was fine.
It is. It's like if you're really gonna be upset about it, just don't.
I know.
What part that upset me when Caleb, like, I didn't catch this until I watched a YouTube video that explained that, like, Caleb looked at his sister and she has boobs, so he's kind of like, he's attracted to her a little bit. And not, I mean, showing him, but just the idea that how dare he even look at a woman. He's like, I I've sinned. And I'm just like, you sinned to the fact that you kind of wanted to sleep with your sister, but not really, so it's fine because you don't understand because you're a child what you're feeling. But where his brain goes to sin right away, I'm like, you fucking adults. Like, there's a line a little bit later when they can't find the baby. They're like, well, he wasn't baptized. He died in sin. He's going to hell. And I'm just like, you fuckers should be beaten for putting that in the kid's mind.
Yeah, that's a real thing.
Well, I know it is. Like, when I was a kid, I remember my father was very religious when I was younger. And I remember him telling me that anyone who was like, if you're a child, you just automatically go to heaven because you're too young to have known that you sinned or something like that. And that's what I always believed. And like, I mean, when I was in the religion more, and I was just like, man, you guys are just terrible in this movie. But I mean, it fits. But it just like, how can you tell a kid like, well, was he going to hell because he's a sinner. He was born a sinner. There's my rant.
No, that's it's creepy. It's really creepy. Yeah, it's not a good trip to lay down on a kid. Yeah.
And like, okay, yes, it's horrible. But one thing I really did like about this is that, there's a scene later where the father's like, I can't tell you whether or not he's in heaven or hell. I wouldn't presume to know God's business. And I was like, yeah, man. Yeah. All right.
Yeah, that's the answer to that question. Generally, don't tell a green person that their loved one is burning in eternity. Like, don't do that.
Yeah,
that's not a great response.
I'll know. I'm not God. Who am I to know his infinite wisdom?
But that was the Puritan mindset.
Oh no. What? Puritan mindset was much worse. It was, we know what God's doing. Everybody in England sucks because they're not worshiping God right. We're the right ones. We're going to go learn elsewhere. And then we're going to tell you what God says. So they were kind of crappy. William here?
No, he's trying to be
got the right idea. He is trying to be a good father. He's trying to be a good person. And, look, we haven't talked about him yet. Ralph Ineson, or Innocent. I don't know how to pronounce his last name. What a goddamn gem he is in this.
Just a commanding performance at every single level. Every actor in this movie is sensational, but him in particular as the religious patriarch of a family, someone trying to keep it together, extremely pious, believes in hard work, and again, you can just talk about his voice, just how he delivers his lines with such import. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. I mean, it's like stage acting.
My voice gets pretty low sometimes. I wish I could hit his register of voice. Jesus, I would sound amazing all the time.
Are you kidding me? I'm basically an anime character. I'm basically Ash Ketchum from Shino District. Hi, everybody. No, I have no low registers in my voice whatsoever. So, yeah, exactly. Man, that'd be so cool.
I fanatically love his voice. It's so good. And Kate Dickie as his wife, very, very good. Like, you buy everything that this entire family is going through. You don't really see him much, unfortunately. But the governor at the beginning is Julian Richings. Now, if we have any Supernatural fans out there, you'll know Julian Richings as the man who played Death, the fourth horseman.
Oh, okay. I've watched some Supernatural, but it's been a long time.
He's also in one of my favorite horror movies of the past 5 years, Anything for Jackson. Now streaming on Shudder.
Supernatural. That's not a Superman thing, is it? Or
no, it's a show. They hunt supernatural beasts and fight God.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, that's Jensen Ackles, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
He opened a brewery in Austin in 2015 or 16. That was a big tourist destination for a while.
Oh man.
Family business brewing. Yeah, people
I assume it went out of business.
No, it's still around. They actually do really good stuff too. They actually do really good stuff.
I want to go to there.
Yeah. Everyone, because when they first opened, the place was overrun with people seeing if he was there. That's all the reason they were there, to see if because evidently the show has a huge cult following.
Oh God, yes,
ridiculously.
Yeah, so it was people are coming from all over the country to see if Jensen was there, and he never was. But they make actually really good stuff, and they're still around.
That's cool.
Yeah,
That's lovely. I love that. I want to go to there.
I watched 6 seasons of that show, and then I just was like, which wraps up the first arc. Like, you can tell the show was ready to end, but doesn't end for another 7 more seasons or so. But I never went back. A good show.
I watched all 15 seasons. It took me 5 times starting it to get through 15 seasons. So
yeah, that's fair. I just can't. Yeah, can't do it. Network TV is hard.
Let's see, who else do we got? Harvey Scrimshaw, by the way, best name ever. Like, Harvey Scrimshaw is a badass name. He's the guy who plays Caleb.
Okay.
And Caleb was pretty damn good. Like,
oh boy.
Yeah, that kid did a good job.
Yeah. Ellie Granger played Mercy. Lucas Dawson played Jonas. I hated both of them.
Loathsome children. Loathsome.
Oh, they were terrible. Terrible little kids, but they fit.
Sure did.
So you get one brief scene after you kind of been introduced to the family a little bit, and you see like a naked woman and the baby, and I'm assuming the baby got put in the mush, right? Like that's what I was witnessing.
The baby was the mush.
Okay,
yeah.
That's what I figured.
Yeah.
It takes a minute to realize because
It's very subtle.
It is extremely subtle, and when you have that, oh god, it's just chilling. That's obviously one of the most chilling moments of the whole movie for me. Of course, when she brings that knife real close to the baby.
Mm-hmm.
But it's very subtle, and my brain took a while to figure that out. But the director definitely gives you time to figure out, like, which is the purpose. Like the whole this creeping dread to approach you, like, is that what I think it is? My brain just made a logical leap that I'm not very happy with. So can I talk myself out of this? No, I can. That's it.
At least they don't show it to you. They don't rub it in your face. It's just, if you put 2 and 2 together, you figure it out. If you decide to be oblivious, you can be oblivious, and the movie doesn't hurt for it.
Yeah, I mean, what do you think this is? Hereditary?
That shoves it in your face, and yeah, hold your face to it. So, Oh, you thought her head came off? Guess what? We're gonna show you her head now, and we're gonna show it to you later too. Like,
yeah, and if this was Ari Aster, this would be an extreme close up that they would just surprise you with, like 45 minutes in, you just see it again because why not? Here you go. But no, it's not that kind of movie.
When they're hunting, when the father and son are out there hunting in the woods, which he tells that they're not supposed to go into, there's couple things I want to say. One, I really, really hate guns in the 1600s. I just don't like the way they were, especially in video games. Like, anytime I play a video game where I got to use a gun in that era, there aren't many, but there's some. I'm not happy. I just do not like that style of weapon. But when he injures himself in the face, and I'm like, that gun just looks so complicated because he got the big string on it, and he's got to I'm just like, my God. But that's not the important part. It's just something that I always think about whenever I see guns from this era. But like the rabbit and those eyes, and I'm like, those are not rabbit eyes. I have stared at enough rabbits in my life that come in my backyard that I've just seen. Like, that is not a rabbit eye. Like,
no, it's not a rabbit eye. Bill,
interesting.
Do you think it's
really?
a rabbit eye?
I have no idea. I've never been that close to a bunny.
I was real close at those eyes, man.
Well, they pop out. I think they pop out more than they should on a real rabbit would. They're different colors than a real rabbit. I look at rabbits a lot.
They look like Black Phillip eyes.
Oh, I did not put 2 and 2 together on that. I used to have a pet rabbit too, Bill. So that's part of it. And I like rabbits. I look at them a lot. Outside, I get a lot of rabbits.
Okay.
My yard. Not as much lately, but here, I will, for those that are wondering, go look at a picture of a rabbit. I'm going to put one in the chat. And that's a normal rabbit's eyes, Bill, once it loads.
Okay.
Slowly.
Well, this is actually a hare, which is a little bit different than a regular rabbit.
Dark eyes, like doll's eyes.
Yes, but they're still not. Okay, I guess hare's eyes are a little, they're different than a rabbit's eyes.
A little.
But they're still not like how those eyes look.
No. I thought they looked like Black Phillip eyes. I could be wrong. But
no, they could be going for that.
They almost looked like they had that weird ram's, like, weird pupil.
They feel like they're sticking out too far, too.
Yeah, I could buy that.
I don't know. I caught that something was wrong with the rabbit immediately. And I was also thinking to myself when he went to go shoot it, I'm like, if you shoot that rabbit, is there going to be anything left to eat?
Well,
I don't. Yeah, I mean,
because they weren't bullets. They were like little rocks, or not rocks, but round, shooting a round ball.
Shot. It's probably, it could have been shot like a shot. Yeah, I don't know. It's a good question.
I was just thinking to myself, like, but I don't know, just something about that rabbit that just looked so menacing. I'm like, yeah, that's not a rabbit. That's what went through my brain immediately when I saw it. I said, there's more to this than what we see.
And aren't rabbits typically kind of skittish? Rabbits just sit there and stare you down menacingly.
They typically don't just hang out and sit when a dog is scream barking at them.
Yeah.
No.
But, it's whatever.
Well, it's supposed to show you that this isn't a regular rabbit. There's also a scene I didn't catch a little bit of before this where Thompson, played by Anna Taylor-Joy, ends up having like an egg that isn't an egg and has like a dead chick in it.
Oh boy.
No.
I mean,
like if I found an egg like that, I would ship myself to the moon. No lie.
To the moon you would go.
It would be no.
So-
I have a big problem with dead animals. Like it's weird, but live animals, fine. I have snakes crawling on me, tarantulas crawling on me, cats crawling all over me, fine, okay. Second one dies, I want nothing to do with it.
Yeah, hard. It's a hard situation. Not fun. Not fun at all.
but I also, like, I didn't catch this until YouTube was telling me about, like, all their crops are, like, bad. Like, I didn't catch that all their corn is bad.
Yeah.
Also, is there a name for that type of corn? Because when I was a kid in Milwaukee, to me, I was told at some point in elementary school that was called Indian corn, and I'm assuming that is not correct at all.
I believe it's maize. Is that the sort of corn that would grow in?
Right, yeah.
Maize is a corn that would grow in New England. Yeah.
Okay, because for some reason I was told it was Indian corn, but then again I went to school in the 90s, so I was like, well, this now I look back, like, this is probably racist.
yeah. Maize is it's
okay.
I'm pretty confident it's maize. That's the.
I've always been curious. Like I remember looking at it, like, oh, it's Indian corn. I'm like, I'm not going to say that out loud because I'm probably wrong. So I'm just going to not say anything. So okay, thank you. Now I know what it's called.
It's Native American corn.
Yeah, but see, in the 90s we didn't say that because we were racist.
Right, but we're better now.
We are better now.
All right. I mean, I'm better.
Marginally better now.
But
It's possible that it's maize, but yeah, it's not doing too well.
Not really. Doesn't look very good at all. Looks kind of.
you can eat maize corn, right? Like that isn't just.
Yeah.
It's just corn. I mean, I think it's just another term for corn. Honestly, I don't think there's a big difference between the two. But yeah, you can totally just eat it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just corn.
Yeah. Okay. I always thought it was like animal corn or something. Like it was corn that you grew, especially to feed to your cows or pigs or stuff like that when I was a kid.
No, I don't think so.
I don't think so either now, but this is just young Mike telling you his story the last time he saw maize corn. That's what I think about very often.
All right, you know what? I'm going to get an answer on this.
I could poll my wife. My wife is from Iowa. There's none but corn out there. So she can tell you all about it.
I drove through Iowa, Bill, not too long ago, and my God, I had a 3-hour drive from Clear Lake to, where the fuck was I going? Sioux City area, and I drove for 3 hours, and all I fucking saw was corn and windmills for 3 hours.
Yeah, not much else out there. Nothing else out there. Nah, that's about it. And just a fun fact and just a little cautionary tale for those of you who may be corn lovers. I don't know, the 5 of you out there perhaps. Don't eat highway corn. Like the corn that's on the side of the highway just sitting there looking delicious. That's not great corn. That's not the stuff you eat. The stuff you eat on the interior of the farm. That's display corn. You don't eat that stuff. Evidently, that's what I've been told.
Yeah, that's
from an authority.
Corn.
What's that?
That's ethanol corn.
Yeah. Yeah.
For gas?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's most of the cornfields you see from the highway are industrial corn for like purposes like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So not tasty.
No, not the tasty stuff. Don't be like, ooh, let me pull over and grab myself a husk. No, they don't do that. It's not the same. It's not the sweet stuff that you're used to in the supermarket.
So corn will take anywhere from 60 to 100 days to grow from planting to harvest. So they've been out there for a minute.
Yeah, they've been out. Yeah, so that timeline kind of makes sense. The first thing they probably did was plant corn, and depending what season it was, okay.
Well, I mean, they probably built a house first, but
they can multitask. Yeah,
I mean, you do need shelter, but you also need food.
Yeah. But that's a problem because they're saying like, hey, this harvest, hey, round 1 was not great. We're not going to survive the winter. We don't do something.
No, and you can't go back to town.
No, because William is too proud.
Yep.
Which I did not catch how much that is a part of this movie till later.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, boy.
Well, the YouTube video told me. YouTube explained a lot of things I didn't understand about the movie.
Fair enough.
So when they're at the river and Thomason is washing the clothes, Mercy is really a little bitch.
Oh, she stinks. Oh, she's just the brattiest child.
I mean, where she is just so much about, she's just like, the witch that took the baby. It's like, that was your brother that just got murdered.
But like when you're a kid, you don't really have that kind of permanence.
Yeah, okay, fair.
Yeah, and she's just trying to take digs against her older sister because she's got that classic like little younger middle child thing going on where she was the baby forever, but now there's a new baby in town, and now she's not being babied. Well, there was, but now she's not being babied anymore. So I'm sure she's acting out because she's no longer the littlest and the cutest anymore. That is super duper a thing. So yeah, totally. She's just acting out. And just being a bratty, I guess probably 6, I would guess age. I'm just kind of spitballing, maybe 5.
Something like that, yeah.
That could be.
5, I'm going to guess 5. Yeah, she's pretty brutal. And she knows how to get under everyone's skin, too, which is very much so a kid thing as well.
And calling her, and she calls her sister a witch, first jokingly, then her sister goes along with it and says, I am the witch. And the thing about that, though, like, that is so accurate to what people believed back then, which I didn't like. I read it in history, like I know, like I've studied enough, but like when we were in Salem, like they really make sure, like that witch museum, which I highly recommend anyone goes to Salem, the witch trial museum, they really like kind of show you, and they explain to you, like they're like, life sucked. They're like, you're gonna die from disease and this and that. You're paranoid. You're in a new land. Like this, that's why they did this. That's why they had to blame something.
Yeah.
So it makes it really put a lot of like to understand like where I was like when I watched this movie, I'm like, okay, all this makes sense to me and fits the time perfectly. One scene that I did skip by is right before this, they're fighting with the father is fighting with the goat, Black Phillip, because the little kids are chasing Black Phillip and singing to him for some reason. And I was wondering throughout the movie, like, why don't you fucking just kill the damn goat? Eat him. Cook them, but maybe that's for winter.
That's not even necessarily for winter. That's, that's your dude. That's your stud. That's how you get more goats.
Point. Okay. I will come back to that later on for another reason. But okay. I didn't even think, you see, my brain didn't even go to that because I forget about the fact that like, well, yeah, you're on a farm and you need more.
Yeah.
No point.
You can't just go to Farm and Fleet and
go pick up a goat. I mean, you can't even go to town and pick up a goat because you're banished from town.
No, you can't go. We are going to be self-sufficient here in the middle of New England. Ugh, rocky soil. Terrible.
And you're from that area, so aren't you?
Not New England, not Jersey, but yeah, that's a little further north. That's a little further north than where I hung my hat. But yeah, it's a hard place to live. It's not easy. It's not an easy place to live. Just ask the early settlers. It wasn't easy.
No.
Living out there.
Oh, thank you. Go back to English.
Yeah, no, I'm good. I'm happy.
They killed a lot of people for witches too. So, but I can't remember if that's 1600s or when that is. There's a huge witch hunt that goes on throughout history, but I can't remember when it is in England. But that's neither here nor there.
Oh, in England.
Yeah, in England, there's a whole I've watched documentaries about it, but I can't remember I can't remember what years it is, but yeah, they killed a lot of fucking people. There was one guy too who made a living off being a witch hunter in quotations, where he'd just go and kill people. So yeah, good people back then. Right after this, you do have a nice family get together where they're all eating, and this is when they start the mother complains about a cup that is missing. I didn't realize that part of being a Puritan is not being attached to any physical good, like being attached to a cup. So therefore she's sinning essentially by being upset that this cup is missing.
Mm-hmm.
Did not catch that because I did not know.
Your English witch hunts were conducted from the 15th to the 18th century, but its most intense period was during the English Civil War, 1642 to 1651. Okay. So just a little bit after this movie.
So it fits the time perfectly.
Oh, yeah.
For people to be upset about witches and to be scared of that and to talk when they talk about, I signed his book. And I'm like, oh, yeah, that was a thing.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. People talked a whole lot of shit back then. And oddly enough, not a whole lot of stitches getting stitches back then.
Not really.
I mean, usually if you said somebody was a witch, you were fine. It was whoever you condemned is fucked.
Yeah.
Usually how it went. In the
Any of
Salem
y'all
witch
ever
trials,
read the Crucible?
No, nor seen the movie.
No.
It's a good book.
To.
It's a good book.
I want to see the movie.
Watch the movie. The new one. The new one's pretty good.
The one not you're talking about the one in '94. There's another one.
94.
Okay. When we were at the Salem witch trials, Tiff was start thinking of the movie, couldn't think of the name, and the woman's like, "The Crucible. That's a really good movie and a very important one too." She said, and I remember going, "Maybe I should watch that someday."
Yeah, no,
we went and bought witch souvenirs before we left from the gift shop. But fucking love Salem. I want to go back someday. But I just the cup thing I think is so interesting how she blames Thomason for stealing the cup when it wasn't her. It's actually, she doesn't find out, but it was the father that did it.
Well, she does find out eventually.
But not at this point. Because he doesn't say anything. He just lets her take the blame. Like, oh, well, blame the daughter. I don't care. Because I'm an asshole.
Whole bunch of not great stuff going on here.
Indeed.
Mm-hmm.
And if I was thinking about it, which of course I wasn't, but now I am, I would love to break down where each sin is being broken in this movie. Because I'm sure it's there.
I'm sure it's there, too.
You mean like the 7 Deadly?
Yeah.
I bet you're probably right. Yeah, that'd be an interesting watch through.
Yeah. All right. I'm going to have to do that. 7 Sins watch along.
Very 7 Sins watch along.
I mean, I don't know if they're able to fit in all 7, but okay, they might, because there's definitely lust. I'm sure there's, I don't even know what the 7 deadly sins are, but pride is in this movie constantly. So
you got pride, you got greed, you got
envy.
Envy,
lust.
I think you got some envy, you get greed.
You probably don't have much gluttony, and you don't have much sloth.
Oh, no. Remember, they didn't wake up because the devil had their eyelid.
Ooh, good point.
Oh.
So there's your sloth.
Man, I would have been fucking murdered if I grew up in that time.
Oh,
back in time, in that time, they'd fucking murder me. They'd be like, "He's a witch, kill him!"
Oh yeah, I'd be like, I slept till 6:30. I'm sorry, but yeah, that'd be the end of that. I was waking up at 9. I'm like, hi everybody. I am not fit to live in the 1600s.
Another moment that kind of shows you that there's something wrong here. You see the rabbit again, but this time just sitting with the goats. Rabbit ain't gonna be fucking sitting with the goats. Like I like that there's more and more of just that.
Yeah, it's not quite right. And they never go like show you the devil with a pitchfork and his little cape and his spiky tail and
They give you something though.
They give you a lot of somethings.
We'll get there.
But like it's a fraught time basically is what we're getting to.
So I was curious about another thing here. When you have a scene with the mother and the father in bed and they're talking about how they're going to go sell the Thomason because she's hitting puberty essentially, so it's time to go sell her off to a family. And so a couple quick questions I had. Like, they're just upstairs in this little house, right? That's where they are, the kids.
There's no upstairs.
Is it? No, I think there is.
It looked like they were in an attic.
Was it a loft?
Upstairs. It's a loft. Yeah, they're upstairs and the kids are downstairs.
You see a ladder at one point.
Yeah, because the son goes down the ladder to kind of sneak past. I think the kids are upstairs and the parents are downstairs.
Yeah. Okay, my fault.
Nope, you're fine.
I mean, but I just thought that. I mean, again, it makes sense. Or like, once you become a woman, you can get pregnant. Time to get rid of you. So. Well,
and it's also kind of like, what else are we gonna do? Like, we have again. They're trying to survive. They're trying to survive, and it's. I don't know much again about life in that era, and I'm assuming they were going to sell her to a family to work. I'm assuming.
Probably some form of selling her into indentured servitude.
Yeah, to work, right? And then, that's the way that goes. But yeah, they're just in survival mode. They're just trying to figure out how to make the winner, right? Yeah, it's interesting because, and that's what I really like about The Witch is that it's not just a spooky story about witches and flying cream and all that stuff. It's really the drama of the family itself is so palpable and scary in itself without the witchcraft. Just this family trying to survive in this wilderness is very tense and very fraught, and again, say what you want about the religious side of things. At the end of the day, they're just doing the best they can with the information they have, right? And it's chilling. So even these moments where nothing scary is happening is still really good work. And then the script is so interesting and good and dense. It's just like, chew on that script. It's fantastic.
I would have liked it had they not talked the way they did, but it fits the time perfectly.
Oh, I love it. I love the poetry of it. I love. I
don't like it, but it's accurate.
So if you don't like that, you're not gonna like the Lighthouse, because the Lighthouse has a lot of period dialogue as well. So
yeah, but they got a lot of better like dialogue there too.
Oh, they
What
do.
period
No,
is the lighthouse?
oh,
18 something,
1800s, yeah. I think 1800s, yeah.
I don't know
late
anything
18,
about that.
early 19. I don't know.
And I
Okay.
think The Lighthouse is a better movie. I adore The Lighthouse. Actually, I'll just want to watch The Lighthouse now. My God.
Well, maybe that will happen for me.
Maybe.
Depends. I might be tired of spooky stuff by the time I get done with the list I have to do. So, so I mean, they talk about how they're going to use the horse and he's going to go into town and sell her, and then I'm assuming that's partly why Caleb goes out into the woods with a horse. Well, isn't he looking for the baby still?
He's trying to check the traps. It seemed like he was trying to figure out a way to keep Thomason there.
Yeah,
Because
they
he's a pervert.
right, because they overhear.
Oh, I mean, you're just fucking below him. Like, why are you?
I think that's part of it. I think he's also trying to live up to his dad. He's trying to be the good son, and I think there's a lot of reasons for that. He just strikes out and says, "Hey, let me go check the traps. Let me see if I can find it."
Yeah, and Thomason makes him take her with.
Right.
Because of course. Girl, just stay at home. Bad things happen when you leave the farm.
I mean, it's just I did like it though when he takes out the horse and you see she's riding the horse and he's the one walking. I was like, it made me laugh a little bit because I don't think that was his plan.
Probably not.
Nope. But they do find an animal in one of the traps that they put out there, so that's cool. And then things go wrong.
Things go awry.
Because what scares the horse? Was it the hare?
Yeah.
It was the rabbit. It was the demon rabbit.
Which I also, again, another sign that something's wrong because a horse should not be terrified of a rabbit, but the horse knows that something's wrong. So, I mean, I always believe that animals really do have a sixth sense more than, they can tell when something isn't right where us dummies can't.
Oh, totally. Yeah, survival instinct. Absolutely. Totally.
I've always believed that. I still believe there's times when a cat is looking at something that they're not just looking at a bug. They see something that you don't see, or they're just trying to play tricks with you.
I try not to think about that at all, ever.
You're welcome. And then she falls off the horse, and then the kid goes running after the dog, which again makes sense. I would have done the same exact thing.
Yeah.
Oh, come back here. When you go back to the farm and you have the parents wake up, realize they're gone, they're upset. I like how the twins are tied to the fence on leashes, essentially.
Yeah. Good.
Yeah.
Fuck
yeah. Indeed. They
It's
stay
so
them
bad,
there.
kids.
They're screaming and pulling at the ropes and.
They're just tied to the fence. It's so great. They took the time out to get that rope and get a good knot going. And okay, we're good to go.
Straight up, normalize tying kids to fences again.
Ken, I hate how when you said straight up, the first thing that came to my head was straight up. Now tell me it's gonna be you and me forever. Oh, oh, oh. That's what popped in my head immediately, and I'm not okay with it.
You know what? It's always the right time for Paula Abdul and or me first in the Gimme Gimmes.
Indeed. Yes.
Oh, it was just so fucking funny seeing him die. I would just laugh my ass off. But I mean, again, it's not meant to be funny, but it is funny as parents seeing the kids tied to a fence on leashes and they're tied around their waist. So it's just funny.
Unfortunately, though, Caleb gets lost and he finds the dog's body, which is
that was sad.
That was a bummer. That dog ain't do nothing.
No, dog had a good name too. I like the name Fowler.
Yeah, that's a good name. Agreed.
I don't know why.
And the dog's still breathing.
Yeah, it's not great.
Not good at all.
No, we never see what killed the dog.
No.
We don't see a large animal. We don't see anything. He just runs to the dead dog, and then as he's upset and distraught, that's when he runs into the hut with the witch.
And let me be perfectly clear. I would have been so got by this witch. If I was walking through the woods, there's a hut, and that witch starts coming out, I am not leaving alive. You will remember me fondly on the last time you talked to me. I will not be coming back from that hut. And you know what? All right.
That's it.
You see that, we'll be like, oh, well, I guess this is how we're going out today.
Yep.
No, that's the end of that.
Just like the prophecy foretold. This is how we're dying.
I think one thing that's so incredible about that scene, too, is another deadly sin is lust. But also, when you see her, she has one hand that looks normal, but then when she goes to kiss him, you see the other arm that he doesn't see is all wart and old looking.
Oh, that's got me too, because there's a nice little stinger with that. That gave me a jump, and I knew it was coming too. That gave me a nice little start.
I mean, I think it's supposed to be the idea that what he sees is not real, like that she's not this beautiful woman that he's seen. This is an illusion.
Yeah, probably, or she ran out of Polyjuice potion.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it could be it's a cream that was made from Caleb's brother. We don't know. They don't talk about it.
Good point.
Like, I don't pretend to know how these witches work. I don't really know how any witches work, but these witches in particular seem to be of the bad variety.
Also, the hand when she first comes out, one you see her breasts, which is not allowed in this time. Like, they really do a good job of just showing it. Like, I like how he just starts crying when he sees her too. He's like, "Fuck, I lusted."
Mm-hmm.
Man, sexual repression is a thing back in these times. And, like, if you're in Caleb's shoes and all of a sudden you see this literal walking wet dream coming towards you, you would probably risk it for the biscuit as well. Like,
there was no way there was no way he was going to be able to do that. And
I just watched it again. The way they film it, she starts to kiss him, and it looks like normal. I mean, not normal because she's an adult and he's a child, but and then her bad hand comes up, grabs the back of his head, and like everything speeds up, like she's eating him. Like the way they filmed it is, I mean, I didn't catch that the first time, and now I have the movie playing as we're talking about each scene. Like, that's like a little bit of a horror moment there, where it's like, and I remember seeing it. I'm like, yeah, he's dead. He ain't coming back. I mean, he does, but I was like, he's done. I'm like, that's the end of Caleb. I'm like, he's gone. He went in the pot. That's all I
asked for a better way out. That's my guy.
And then Thomason comes back. They find her, and then the parents are arguing. And this, I think, is the mother blaming her again about the cup, about the fucking cup.
Yep.
Okay. And again, it makes sense. You lost one kid. You're about to lose another kid. Like, you think he's dead. So you're arguing about something that you can be upset about. You can be upset about the cup because you're trying to find something rational in a world that isn't rational. Because losing two kids in the matter of a month must be fucking awful.
Yeah, that's got to put you on edge.
Yeah.
To put it extremely lightly, another way to put it would be that would absolutely destroy me as a person, and I don't think I would survive.
No, I mean, it's such a, again, 1600s. I mean, this is what they went through, but like, it's just awful. You know, and everything with it is just so, but I mean, it's filmed so good. Like, this movie does a good job of the way they film it and the way that they put it on, you know, it focuses on different characters. I really liked it. And I like this scene when the parents are arguing. Thomason is just sitting against the wall, and the way the lights are flickering. I think it's very well done. And this is when he finally confesses, I stole and sold the cup or something. And he took Caleb to the woods. That's what he's admitting to. But
he's
again, they have to hunt.
Coming clean.
I mean, you would have to hunt when it comes to, you know, living out there. Like, how is you going to survive? I mean, yes, you're going to grow crops, but you're also going to need meat. You know, especially if your crops are all dying. Like, you gotta have food.
You gotta have options, but again, he probably should have consulted first. He probably should have consulted with the wife first before selling the cup, because she understands the situation they're into. But she's already talking about going back. Like, she's like, hey, let's just swallow your pride and let's just go back to the place where I had friends and food and, I don't know, a community. Let's stop living here in the middle of nowhere.
I mean, living in the middle of nowhere even now, I feel like it's got to be rough. But we have technology now. I still wouldn't want to do it.
Yeah, we have like Grubhub.
Yeah, it's much different now with DoorDash at our fingertips. Like, that's not. Yeah, we're
okay, but
we're good.
You know, you put us out in this situation, we're all fucked too.
Yeah.
Oh, no, forget it. You kidding me?
Can you grow corn? I can't grow corn.
No, I cannot grow corn.
I mean, I have corn growing in my backyard right now, actually, but I didn't plant it. My dog planted it for me.
Yeah. You don't have corn.
I wouldn't eat that.
I have something growing. It looks like corn. I'm not going to eat it, but I think it's corn. But if it does grow into a corn, I will take a picture and send it to you. How about that?
By all means, please do.
Yes. Waiting with bated breath, sir.
But one day I went out there, I go out there, I'm like, oh, look, a corn stalk is growing. I'm like, oh, yeah, that's how that got there. I feed my dog corn sometimes. I'm like, oh, yeah, that works. And right after they get done arguing, it's still during the night when the naked Caleb shows up.
Yeah, he's not doing great.
I didn't think he was going to show back up, but I'm like, even when he came back, I'm like, yeah, he's fucked. Like, you don't just come out from wherever you were in the woods with a witch naked and gonna be okay. And his face is all got all these like cuts in it and stuff. Like,
he's not having a good time, so they start taking care of him, and
they bleed him.
Yeah,
I forgot that was a thing back then.
Oh yeah, that was a cure-all. Yeah, definitely doing a little bloodletting. Yep.
Well, you got too much bad blood in you. We got to get it out. We get good blood going.
That's right. You have a tremors inside you, a fever.
You better do some cocaine about it.
I just like I remember I was watching this with Tiff, and I was like, why are they? She's like, yeah, they're letting out the bad blood. I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot this was a thing of bloodletting.
Yep. Got to watch those bodily humors.
That's the word I was looking for. I said fevers, humors. That's exactly it. The 4 humors. I think it's 4, right? It's like 4 humors. Yeah.
The 4 main humors. Yeah.
There's 4 humors. My wife watched and I watched some of this, a 36-part documentary on the Black Plague. And it's part of a series called The Great Courses. And it's one of those things. And it's just a professor giving like a lecture to the camera, like 3 camera setup about the Black Death. It's fascinating. Like, because you can learn so much about the culture of the times through the Plague. It's freaking fascinating. And it's in 32 parts. It's literally like a college course. My wife has watched this twice now. It is literally the most fascinating
streaming somewhere, sir?
You have to you have to buy like it's one of those things where, hey, you spend $3 and you get this for 2 years or with Nebula or something, like one of those deals, right? You just streaming service for like $3 but that's the only thing worth watching on it. Everything else is like stinks. On what? This is too nerdy.
You got my attention.
It's interesting. It's fascinating.
You can use your library card and see if Hoopla is a thing.
It is here.
Yes.
Your library.
I was just at the library not too long ago.
Because they have a Great Courses binge pass on Hoopla.
That might be where she saw it the last time on Hoopla.
7 days of unlimited access using your library card.
I think that's when she recently rewatched this. And yes, I think it was on that Hoopla special, yes.
Okay. I mean, I'd be curious about that because I know a little bit about the Black Plague, but I like learning about history.
Oh, I'm just looking through this, Mike. There's a bunch of shit that you would love.
I love documentaries. Like, I don't even need a lot. I just need someone to explain it to me, and I am... Also, documentaries are great to watch or listen to while you're editing podcasts. They don't require a whole lot of, like, you can just... They go great, by the way. That's what I love putting on documentaries and editing podcasts. So good.
Cool.
So, and then after Caleb comes back, like, they're trying to treat him, you have a small scene where Thomason goes to milk the goat and the goat bleeds. Instead of milk, you get blood.
Not good. Nope.
No.
Does that happen in real life ever? I'm assuming, but maybe it means when they're dead.
I have no idea.
I don't know. I never milked a goat.
I haven't either. I know that regular milk isn't like that.
I fed goats. Does that count?
I've fed goats too. Yeah, petting zoos. Hell yeah. So it's clear that on the farm, there's all sorts of things that are not right because goats don't be milking blood. Like, it's not a good thing.
And for her, she also, when the blood comes out, her sister goes, see, you're a witch.
Fucking little bitch.
That's the worst.
I mean, that is a big freaking, like, that's a big thing to say. Calling somebody a witch in this time, it's like you're threatening their life.
Right. Plus, okay, so you got female goat doing the milk instead of blood, and earlier you heard as the reasoning for why Thomason has to go away, she's got her woman times now.
Yeah.
So, like, it's really not hard to see that they're equating both of these things with bad.
Oh, I didn't catch that, but yes, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Goat's bleeding. Must be a witch. Thomason's bleeding. Fucking witch.
What in the world is happening?
I mean, to be fair, I think there's some people that still believe that in today's world. So
yeah, but I don't even want to go there.
That's fine. I just have to make my comments. And the woman the actress that plays Catherine does such a good job. Like, she does a good job mourning in this because she does a lot of mourning. The stuff where they go with Caleb, I thought was also like pretty dark. Like, because later on, he does start to wake up and just starts, like, praying.
He vomits an apple before that, though.
Yeah, I was like, where the fuck does apple come from? And I'm like, why is he vomiting an apple? But I didn't realize
he was looking for apples. Remember, that was the lie he told. He told the lie that he was looking. He found the apple tree, and we thought he saw an apple tree, but never found it. Hence the rotten apple that came out. I love this scene. This is probably one of my favorite, and this is the moment this is when we turned on the movie. My father-in-law and I. This is
my god!
This is too late to start this movie.
It is, and I said, "Well, this movie we're already like more than halfway through." Yeah. And again, I didn't because I'd already seen it, but I'm like, sure. He's like, it's just something to put on. And I'm thinking, no, sir, this is not just something to put on. This is not.
I can't do that. My dad does the same thing. He can just start a movie. He's been doing this since I was a child. To start a movie midway through and just start watching it. And I'm like, how? Is this an old person thing, Bill? And we're just not that old yet?
It must be. We're
old generation that we're not part of.
It's got to be. It's got to be the case. And I don't know. But anyway, this is when we came on. And I love this monologue. I love this performance is sensational. The escalation of the wailing and people sobbing and this roller coaster of emotions this family goes through as they think he might be okay. And he's praising Jesus and he dies peacefully. Like he has this like peaceful, it's really just it's so unsettling, but what a performance. I mean, just awe-inspiring.
Absolutely. It is.
It was very good.
Oh God. Like this kid, he's got it.
Got some chops, as they say.
Like it's God, like it bothers me so much that he's basically just having this religious experience and like a very much a literal coming to Jesus moment. Hmm? And then he's just like, and I'm spent, dead.
Yeah.
I guess the apple was supposed to represent like Adam and Eve too, and the apple they take. I think that's part of it. Supposedly.
Of course, original sin is always worthwhile.
See, I forgot. Like, I didn't even think when I was watching. I didn't even think about that aspect of it. I'm like, oh yeah, that makes sense because my brain doesn't go there. So, but I thought that was interesting too to have that.
What must that be like to not have religion like right on the tip of your tongue? Like, I don't even.
Considering the way I kind of grew up, I find it interesting how like I have like I mean my father was a monk at one time, but it was either go to Vietnam or become a monk. He became a monk,
like a proper monk. Wow.
Yeah. He was served at a monastery for a few I think 3 or 4 years before he said, okay, I'm done. So yeah, so I know that. So that's what I grew up with. I mean, he wasn't very religious, but we did have a bunch of religious stuff at the house that came with him when he left. So
like at one point, I wanted to be a priest. When I was growing up. And, I went to Catholic junior high school, studied religion a lot. So, like, when I watch movies like this, my brain just immediately slips back into that place. And it kind of sucks when it happens, but, we survive.
But also, like, you're able to get the context better where I was confused why he spit out an apple. For multiple reasons. I was like, she put an apple in him? Like, was she going to cook him? Like, that's what my brain went to. Like, is he a pig? Is she going to put him on the roast? I don't know. That's where my brain
it's yeah. Lord. But it's a pretty stunning scene. I'll admit it here. I don't talk about this sort of thing on my podcast at all because I do it intentionally. But I'm actually, you guys probably didn't even notice, I am actually a Christian. Like, I actually am a born again Christian. I was an atheist for 20 years, and I came to faith about 10 years ago. So I know a lot of this stuff in my early leanings. And and I can be very critical of religion as well. But so, yeah, for me, again, a lot of the religious subtext is not lost on me for sure. So, yeah, I don't talk about it on my show because people have opinions about that. And I want my show to be for everybody. So reason why I don't.
Your show is much different than what I do.
No, I mean, it's fine. No, it's fine. But yeah, so little known fact. I
go bad places sometimes.
Please, you kidding me? I mean, how many journeys have I taken with you here on this show? Come on now. Yes, you can be a Christian and like horror movies. It's okay. It's fine, everyone. It's totally fine.
I mean, I don't consider myself any religion. I'm not an atheist, but I don't consider myself any religion. I mean, I believe that there's got to be some kind of God out there, and I believe in some of the Christian texts. I just don't support it I'll just say in 2016, I ended up finding out I supported a whole lot less when certain things happen in this world. So we'll just leave it at that.
Well, one of the worst things that can happen, and this movie is a perfect example of that, is one of the worst things that can happen is when religion and the Bible and God and faith is used in an evil way, in a bad way. It's because it's an extremely powerful thing that can cause really bad things happen when you do that. And this is a perfect example. And so it's I can happily talk to you more about it, obviously, but there's it's just when I watched this movie, it was obviously the subtext is not lost on me because like, oh boy,
cool.
yeah.
When I think I don't remember if it's before Caleb dies. Oh no, it's right. Yeah, right before Caleb dies, you have when the twins say that Thomason is a witch, and I think the father starts to almost believe it. Like it's. And what they do, the way that they start rolling on the ground and screaming, that is accurate to what happened in the Salem witch trials. By the way, the women,
really?
The girls that said that whoever was a witch, they would fall on the ground, start rolling and screaming. That was part of one of the things they did to show that they were possessed. So that again, if you ever go to Salem, that fucking witch trial museum, it's really really cool. Well worth the experience, and that's where they talked about that. But that's one of the things that they all did in unison. Because the girls talked. So, not that they were possessed, but because they were bored and life was terrible. So but it's fitting to what people did at the time to show witchcraft, in quotations. So, there's your fun fact. So, it was fitting. I mean, but, oh man, when they do that, I was like, oh, she's fucked. I thought for sure she was going to get killed by her father, because he takes her outside and he's like, praise the Lord, praise Jesus, that you're not a witch, tell me. Like, I mean... It's one of those things where you're damned if you do, damned if you don't. Because if you admit it, you're done. If you don't admit it, well, then you're lying. Because why would you admit it? It's like
he's really in a no-win situation at this point. There's
pretty
much. It's heartbreaking. It's heartbreaking.
I thought I'm like, and I don't know what his plan was. I think he was going to take her and the twins to town next because he thought they were all witches. Isn't that partly what's happening?
Well, he was going to take them back because it's time to go back because they're going to die.
Oh, good point. And then he locks them in with the goats. That part kind of got me. Like, why are you locking your kids with the goats?
He doesn't even just lock them in. He, nails them in.
He shuts them. Yeah, he nails them in. he boards them up. He seals them in with the goats.
I'm just like, why are you doing this? Like, you have a house. Not a big house, but you have a house. Like, just board them in the house. Like, why are you locking them up with the goats? Because Thomason says
witches.
that the twins were talking to Black Phillip, and Black Phillip is the devil. And I mean, part of it is the whole, which again makes sense. They just lost 2 kids in a short amount of time, both the males, which are more important than the women are. So, like, you have all that happening at one time. It fits the paranoia of what people went through in the 1600s and why the witch trials even happened. Like, it fits that. But I was just like, what the fuck are you doing? I wasn't upset when the next scene happens, by the way, to the father. Let's just put it that way.
Nah.
So you see him cutting wood, and I was watching this with Tiff, and Tiff made a comment, like, he's always fucking cutting wood. And I didn't understand that part of that is supposed to be the masculine thing, like he is doing the man of the house and showing that he's providing for his family. That's why he's always cutting wood. My reply was, it gets cold up here. Like, that's why, I mean, it makes sense. Like, he's got to cut enough wood to make it through the winter that's coming.
That, and I think there could be some element of sexual frustration there as well, too.
Oh,
totally.
Okay.
Sure, I can see that.
I didn't think about that, but that's fair.
Because, like, he could be having some impure thoughts about his daughter. Another reason why he wants to get her out. Like, that could be why he's chopping wood all the time. Thomas has even said that's all you're good at. Which, cold-blooded, but true.
It's truth.
He fails at hunting. He fails with the traps. He fails keeping his kids safe. Like, yeah, but he can chop wood all right. Got a nice big pile going.
Corn.
I didn't catch it, but the idea is supposed to be that the devil is tainting their harvest, and the devil is the reason why everything is going so bad.
That's one way of looking at it.
Yep, and that's generally what they're going to blame, and that's generally what they're going to blame, right? That's part of the faith side of it, right? You know, again, these are people operating with a limited understanding and limited information. So that's why I can't demonize them as horrible people, because
they're not.
They're just dealing with they're utilizing what's at their disposal, right? They're using, you know what I mean? That's kind of how I see it.
Yeah, it's early in the life cycle. They literally do not know better.
Right. No. And I mean, it fits. Like they're acting as people did in this time. I think that's one thing that this movie does really well. Is it does capture that paranoia, that fear, that terribleness of being existing in the 1600s. So I think it captures that very well.
Ugh.
God, life must have sucked. That's all I can think of. I mean, I'm wondering if this is the scene that Bill that I forgot about. I was reading my notes when the mother sees the dead Caleb and the baby show up. Oh, I'm like, oh, she's dreaming, and I'm like, oh no, she's not dreaming.
Nope, she is not. And this is the moment when my father-in-law turned to me and said, "What are we watching?" And I had no words.
The crow or raven.
The raven, crow, whatever that was, doing the old peck. Yikes! That's when he turned to me, and I had no words for my father-in-law. He was not ready for this. He's not prepared.
But you also warned him, and like I think if you're watching this movie from the beginning to this point, it fits. But if you were just to drop into this movie and get like, you're not.
Drop. Boop.
Yeah,
that's it. Hi. This
not
again,
that kind of movie.
We had seen about 20 minutes, maybe 15 minutes before this, but this was the moment when he turned to me and said, "What are we watching?" And I said, good. Excellent.
You can do it with Big Trouble in Little China. You can do it with certain types of movies, like an action movie. You can't do it with a slow burn horror movie. Like you could. I mean, I know I did it as a kid. Turn in like midway through Big Trouble in Little China, just like, okay, he's shooting people, things are happening, cool. Like you don't need to know. Like, but this is not that kind of movie.
No,
it's too much.
That whole scene though basically plays off the idea that witches had a quote unquote secret nipple that they nursed their familiars with.
Oh, I did not.
Where's your witch trial museum on that one, Mike?
Yeah, they didn't talk about that.
Come on, Salem, get it together. Talk about the secret nipple.
I like it, like where you think when you do see the raven, and then later on you see her, like when you see her in the bed, her shirt is all bloody, where the raven was pecking at her nipple, like like it happened, like she just got like, oh.
Yeah, it's not pleasant, and things start to really go downhill fast here.
Because this is, here. Is this right before you have like the scene of the? Yes, right before the father wakes, you have a brief scene of somebody eating the goats. Yeah. That got me. I jumped a bit because they're the twins and Thomason are all locked in the hut with the goats, and all of a sudden you just see creepy naked witch-looking woman with like a demon-like face and eating a goat.
It's what's for dinner.
I thought that was beef.
But this is where, of course, everything goes wrong.
It goes wrong quick.
Yeah, because William wakes up, goat stables gone, like just destroyed. The goats are kind of there still, but mostly just eviscerated. The twins are gone, and Thomason's got bloody hands.
Mm-hmm.
So I have a couple questions. One, what happened to the twins?
Who knows?
Okay. And two, was that actually a witch, or was that supposed to be Thomason being... Well, no, Thomason didn't do the thing yet, so... Okay, yeah.
It was the same... Okay, first off, it's A24, so of course you're going to have naked old people.
Whenever I see A24, I go, oh, great, here we go. Because I don't look up any of this before when I pick something or we do it for the show. Like, and every time I'm like, oh, ever since Midsummer, now I'm like, oh, great.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Naked old people, the A24.
I don't think Poltergeist that I saw in theaters last year had naked people, and it was A24, I think. Or was that Blumhouse? I don't remember. Oh, well. Please keep going. Please keep going.
Poltergeist?
One of the Poltergeist movies I watched was either Blumhouse or A24 I saw in theaters last year.
It wasn't A24, I can tell you that much.
I don't think so.
Might have been Blumhouse. I don't remember. I can figure it out. But I just remember... I know I saw something with A24 and I got upset.
Was it The Exorcist?
It was an Exorcist movie. I just don't... I'll figure it out. Because Linda Blair's in it for a scene. It was The Exorcist, Believer. That's
Blumhouse.
Yeah, Blumhouse. Yeah. Okay, that's what it was.
Yep.
That's an okay movie, by the way.
Probably.
It was okay.
Didn't tell you.
Nor can I. Yeah.
It wasn't by choice that I can tell you. I can tell you that much. I didn't say, hey, let's go see this. I said, I guess I do owe you after I'd taken you to how many comic book movies? All right, I'll go see a horror movie with you. That's what happened.
Nice.
I take her to a lot of comic book movies.
William believes that Thomason is a witch.
Yep.
And it's time to kill her.
Yep, that's about it. It's on. It's.
Was he going to?
I don't.
I'm pretty sure he was going to eventually.
It wasn't gonna be. Yeah. Which is why good old Black Phillip steps in. Which is why Black Phillip steps in because it's so hard to say. I think that was definitely in his mind, and I think he's probably wrestling with that. But good old Black Phillip says, nope. That sounds like a terrible way to die.
Getting gored by a goat.
Yeah, getting gored by a goat and then crushed under your wood pile that you spent all movie making.
Yes. The irony, I buried under the symbol of his pride, or however you want to say it. That's probably not right, but whatever. Yeah, that was very... yeah.
Well, I didn't catch it, but when Caleb shows up during the scene, like he says, "I bring a book for you, Mother." I didn't realize the book is supposed to be the book designed for the devil. I did not put two and two together.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Well, I forget that's a thing. Or was a thing.
Look, I remember when websites had guest books too. So
I remember websites had remember web circles? Was that web rings? That was it.
Oh,
web rings. Yes, web rings. Will not say what I was watching on web rings. Golly, creep I was. Yeah, old internet makes me laugh. But yeah, but this is not funny. This whole part. This is really tragic and sad.
Yep. So William dies. Catherine loses her absolute mind.
Yup. What a piece of acting this is too. Oh boy. And you can say it's the moment when she goes crazy and she loses it. It's such a controlled performance. It really struck out to me this time. Just such a controlled. There's so much nuance in it. She has a look about her she's saying basically like she can't believe what's happening and her mind can't process this. So she just, like you said, like just loses her mind. And it's the only thing she could think to do, like her body reacts to, which is kill the witch. And yeah, it's so, what a scene.
I don't blame her for trying to kill her daughter in this. Like, I get it.
Operating with.
Plus, all your kids are dead at this point.
Well, like, one of them's dead, for sure.
I mean, if you go missing in these woods, you ain't coming back.
That's true. Oddly enough, the one who went missing in the woods was the one who we know is dead.
It's true.
Everybody else went missing outside of the woods.
Yeah, where are the twins in this situation? But where are the twins at this point? I don't remember.
You don't see them. They're just gone.
They're gone, right?
I gotta think the crone took them.
Okay. So you think they were snatched up by the crone? Because when William looks over to the barn and sees that it's open completely, and there's a dead goat that's been chopped in half. Two dead goats that are like almost chopped in half almost, and that's when he realizes Black Phillip is out, and blah, that's when he gets his goring. I'm looking, where are the other kids? But they're nowhere to be found. I guess they must be stolen as well.
Also, like, goat's horns are curved, so he's got to go through a lot of work to gore you like that, to pierce you.
Ugh.
Hey, look, man. Black Phillip might be the devil. He can do whatever the fuck he wants.
I mean, he's the devil, we find out, so.
He might be.
I mean, she's talking to Black Phillip when all of a sudden somebody in a black boot is walking next to her, so.
Yeah, which would absolutely track if this was entirely factual and not just a hallucination based on shared religious trauma and bad food.
Bad corn. Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
Robert Eggers specifically made this movie that there is no definitive interpretation of it.
Really? Oh, I didn't know that. I didn't
know that, but you can feel it.
Yeah, I take this very literally. I think this is demons and this is a devil. This is total for me at least. Because that stuff's just so damn scary. That's how I take it. But I didn't realize there was no definitive word on that.
Yeah. No, it let's be honest, it's more fun if it's the witch and the devil.
Totally. Oh yeah.
It is. And I like and it fits the time. It fits the era to have this. It fits the movie. Like everything, it's a nice, it pays off to have something, to have some kind of an answer, whether or not it's accurate, like you have something. And then you can kind of speculate from there too. But when she finally kills the mother and she just stabs her in the face, like that is a good scene.
That is a hard scene because it's like, all right, mom's gotta die, but
also after she kills her mother, she's fucked. Like there's nothing. She has nothing. I'm like, she's dead. Like, I didn't know where the movie was gonna go next, but I'm like, she's dead. Like she can't go back to town because they're gonna be like, what happened to your family? Yeah, I don't know. I killed my mother. My father got killed by a goat. You know, like, what are you gonna say? Like, it ain't gonna end well for you.
No. And it's a good thing that she finds a place in the world.
she finds, we're all looking for community, right? And sure enough, she finds one, walks into the Black Phillip, leads her into the barn. That's when we get that scene where the goat turns into and that voice, that voice is chilling and yeah.
And you never see the man's face. You see part of his face, but his eyes are covered by the hat that he's wearing. I really like the way they did that.
It's very much, what the hell? Reminds me of Nathaniel Hawthorne.
Interesting.
His Twice Told Tales things. There always got like the devil kind of looking like the Puritan-esque type person with the eyes that you don't want to look into.
Okay. Good author.
Yeah.
I used to when I was younger, I really liked his books.
An author I haven't thought about in years.
God, yeah, I haven't thought about it.
Why not? Let's take it there.
I love it. That's awesome, man. I mean, yeah, and the voice is so like close up to the mic, like you can feel his voice as much as hear it. It's really unsettling and great.
I love the way that was filmed too, and it makes sense that she talks to the goat. Like, what is she going to do with herself at this point? Like, she's stuck in the middle of nowhere. Like, she has all her family is dead. They don't have food. Like, she's fucked.
Yep. So might as well talk to the goat because those little shits brother and sister of mine kept doing it. And then he talks and he's like, hey, you want some butter?
Yeah.
I did like that's what he said too.
Butter was a sin back then.
Totally.
It was?
Butter was sinful.
Oh yeah. Because it was considered like a luxury. It was a puritanical life meant denying yourself earthly pleasures. It's like basically a fast for forever. And it's
it was pretty hardcore. There's a reason why it didn't do too well in the future.
No. It's a reason why it doesn't do too well nowadays. But
that line, wouldst thou like to live deliciously? Ooh, I want that on my tombstone.
I didn't catch it. I mean, I did, but I didn't put two and two together. Right before she goes to the goat, she goes in the house, falls asleep at the table, and then goes and talks to the goat.
Yep.
Which is also shows that it's nighttime when she wakes back up.
So could this be a dream?
I say no.
Yes. I'm going to choose no, but you can totally make an argument for that as well, I think.
You could. Yes.
But yeah, I'm going to choose no. I just, because again, the idea that, and the soundtrack, and this is obvious, we haven't talked about the music, if such as it is in this movie, all that atonal, dissonant, not noise, because it really is eerie and beautiful. It's not something I'm going to put in the car and bop to on the way to the supermarket, but boy, oh boy, does that
it fits the movie.
It fits the movie beautifully. It's
the A24 special.
It is the A24 special, all done with non-traditional instruments, no electronics, and it's gorgeous. It's absolutely gorgeous. And of course, it reaches this fever pitch with this bonfire and the coven that's doing their rituals, and they're starting to fly, and it is so unsettling. And what a gorgeous final shot of that giant tree and her hovering above the fire. It's gorgeous. I mean,
they're all naked.
They are all naked. They spent a lot of naked stuff going on in this movie.
The term is skyclad.
What? Skyclad?
Yes, skyclad.
Oh, I don't know what that means.
What it's basically naked, but it's a ritual nudity thing in pagan and Wicca practices.
Gotcha. Oh, okay.
Yes.
Did not know that.
I didn't either.
Clad only by the sky.
I do like how that's the last scene of the movie. You see her floating in the sky, and then the movie ends.
Yep. And for an ending, perfect.
Yeah, it's good.
Perfect. It's fantastic. It's wonderful. And that's our movie. And yikes, it's a goodie. It's a good one.
It is. Before I watched it, I did know it was a slow burn because that was told to me. And it really is. But I don't mind that. I didn't mind this movie.
Even though it's a slow burn, it is a tight 92 minutes.
Yes.
Yeah. It's not too long, and I like the actress, so that helps.
Mm-hmm. But it is it is very condensed. And I think that helps it because it doesn't spend too much time on the setup. It starts us after they've already been established in their little farm. And it's just, all right, better get ready because we're just watching from where shit begins to go wrong to the end. Let's go.
Yep. Yeah. There's really no breaks in that. And it is a tight 90 minutes. It's funny when I was watching it and I put it on, I was like, it comes up with how long it's going to be. I'm like, oh, this is only an hour and a half. Like, wow. And it flies by. Like, it's a really just phenomenal watch.
Yeah. And it's nice to have a shorter movie sometimes.
Unlike the movie I will be seeing tomorrow night with a friend, Apocalypse Now, the final cut, which is going to be 2.5 hours, I think it is. Not the Redux. That's like over 3.
I've only seen that movie once, and it was the theatrical cut, I'm pretty sure. That movie is Vietnam, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I think we should go to Shelf Stacker Box. And Bill, why don't you lead us in?
Yeah, I'm going to absolutely put this on the shelf. This is one of the original, probably I would say one of the first examples of the new art horror, or what's the term they use for it?
Elevated horror.
Elevated horror. Thank you. This is probably one of the first of the elevated horror movies, and honestly, I still think it's one of the best. It's just an amazing director and an incredible vision, and it still holds up as far as its tone and the emotions it provides. I love it, and so this is on the shelf for me, no question, no doubt.
All right, and Ken,
I would love to put this on the shelf, but it's not a movie that I come back to a lot on purpose. Like, I do watch it every few years, but only because, I like the way it's filmed. The subject matter bothers me. Like, religious fanaticism bothers me in every portrayal.
No, that's fair.
And it's not, I'm watching the movie because I like the way it's made, not necessarily because I just want to watch the movie again and again and again. Don't get me wrong.
Not that kind of movie.
I love this movie, but I don't need to watch it more than every couple years. I can put it in the stack and be fine with it. Quality-wise, it is worthy of the shelf, but for me personally, top of the stack, we'll say.
Nice.
All right. I'll go last. I'm going to put this in the stack also. I enjoyed it. I don't need to see it again, but I'm glad that I did watch it. My opinion of it improved while I was watching it while we were talking and what you guys have said, but it's still going to be a stack for me. But I'm really happy it's finally watched and finally on the show because it needed to be.
Now let's do the White Lighthouse.
Do what?
Yes.
The Lighthouse.
Yeah, I think that will happen. I think that will. I'll do it probably next year at this point.
Yeah, I mean, it's such. Ken, do you like The Lighthouse better than The Witch? Because I sure do.
I do.
Yeah.
Is The Lighthouse black and white?
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, and shot in a strange aspect ratio, and it's just so good. I love that movie so much.
109 minutes, so not very long. Okay.
Nope.
Yeah,
nope.
We'll probably do it next year.
Nice.
So.
Or we could do it on Mr. Kenneth Sanity's new podcast that is coming soon.
That's on you guys, but yes. I mean, I'm still going to do it next year no matter what, but yeah, definitely. All right, I think we should go to plugs. And since you already started, Ken, where can people find you at?
People can find my writing on kennethsanity.wordpress.com. I write about movies and things you might not have thought about them before. I will have a podcast coming before year's end. Keep a lookout for that. More details will come as it gets finalized, but movie podcast is finally happening.
So happy. I'm really glad. I'm really glad, man. That's awesome. Do you have a name for it yet, or are you is that still under wraps?
I do, but that's under wraps right
now. Okay.
Yeah, you don't want to put that until you start getting stuff.
Until I have an actual recording up online.
That's fair.
Yes.
That's totally fair.
I bought I didn't buy the website, but I started on Podbean before I announced what I was doing. So because I
make sure it's available everywhere, and
yeah. All right, and Bill, where can people find you at?
As always, a gamer looks at 40. Just talking about retro games and getting all nostalgic about the ye olden days. Not quite the 1600s, but feels like it in my body at least. I actually tried to exercise today. My shoulders feel like I am actually 400 years old. I'm like just falling apart. But yeah, gamer looks at 40. A bunch of people talk about the old video games and share stories about the games that connected with them back in the olden days and connect with them now. So if you enjoy that sort of thing, A Gamer Looks at 40.com has all of my everything.
All right. And if you enjoyed this podcast, there's over 650 other episodes of this show. We do movies, comics, games, TV shows, whatever people convince me to or I convince people to. You can find everything we do on Podbean. If you want to support the show, we do a Patreon. Little dog, vote in our Patreon polls. We have 1 to 2 polls every month. And we also do Discord. If you want to be on the show, join the Discord. It's a great way to be on the show. I do ask for guests. That's where I post. So if you want to be a part of the show, that's the way to do it. I want to give a shout out to my awesome intro and outro courtesy of Helena at Hell Has Free. You can follow her on TikTok and Instagram. You will see a link into her link tree. And please follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Threads, Brain Fuzz, TikTok, and YouTube. We are all different things, and wherever you can find us, rate and review us wherever you get your podcast. Please helps us out, the algorithm. I think that's everything I need to say. So we will see you guys all next time. Bye, everybody.
So long.
See you.